Hey everyone, and welcome back to the Shang and Addie show. This is Shang.
And this is Addie, and today we have Brian Bethke with us, who is a musician in the Chippewa Valley as well as many other things. And I'm going to let him do his introduction himself so we can kind of start this off right.
Sounds good. Yeah, my name is Brian Bethke. I've been a musician around the area for, probably the last 20 years, since I was about 40 now. But, we got a couple groups that I've worked with. I've done with the Merryweathers, was a folk group that they play mostly by themselves now because I'm just too busy with my solo work. Got the Broken Eights, which is like a hard rock grunge group, which we're doing some more shows. We got one coming up in January. And then last year I did a tour with the Gossips, which was just a duo thing that kind of fell apart. But now I'm just kind of focusing on the solo stuff again, and got my own podcast.
You have your own podcast.
And I'm a hemp farmer.
Yeah. So the first episode, because I was listening to your podcast the other day, so our mutual friend Justin, who actually hooked this thing up, shout out to Justin J. Arnold, he told me the same day that he was actually going to come in and shoot our first episode was the same day he was going to shoot with you, but the weather didn't permit that. Right. So I listened to your first episode and it was about turning 40.
Yeah. Well, that's what I figured because he was going to show up and I was like, I'd set the day like, okay, this is the day I start the podcast. So it's like creatively. Is that, can I say it right?
Creatively.
See, there we go. See, she is a woman of words.
I can have the right words sometimes. Yeah. Creatively.
It's also how you say it.
Yeah.
Creative.
I couldn't get it out. But so that day was the day. So I'm like, well, I'm just going to go. I was planning on it anyways. We'll hit record and I'll just start babbling. And I was kind of feeling sorry for myself because I had recently turned 40. So
hey, that's a good thing.
Yeah, I made it,
You made it to 40.
You're still alive.
Yep. I still got most of my hair.
I was like, hemp farming? What does that even entail? What is that?
How does one start that really?
So first you have to go to the Department of Agriculture. You have to pay them like $500 to submit your application and everything. And then you get a background check. They do a full background check. And, hey, thankfully, I haven't been in trouble. So then you get approved. It takes about 6 weeks to get approved. And then the next step is finding a company where you can get certified seeds from, which is another, they're expensive. They're about $1.60 to $2 a seed. And
wow, there's a lot that goes into that.
Yep. And then we started in grow lights in a grow room on April 20th of last year, and grew them up until about June, and then moved them to a greenhouse for a while, and then it's hand planting. It's all, you can't spray them with any sprays or pesticides. It's all
organic.
Yep, pick the bugs off by hand, and
Wow. So, what is the end product, or is that? So I see it's becoming more of I don't know, like a CBD. Is that the same thing?
Yeah.
I don't know if
hemp is?
Yep, that's what hemp is. Yeah.
Okay. So do you use, is it for CBD oils? Is it for lotions? Like I see sometimes hemp lotions and things like that too.
Hemp bath bombs I saw. They had
they're
them
doing
at
everything.
Azura's or whatever. Yeah.
So what I do is like I grew to sell my product, just to sell the flower from the plant. So it's all female plants. I mean, it is a cannabis plant. It's the cousin of the cannabis plant. They're the same plant and just low THC. So you grow the flowers, and so what I sold mine for was to a company in Chicago. They bought it they use it for smokable, to tell you the truth. Mm-hmm. So it's a little more lax down there, so all my testing came back. I got my certification, because there's a lot of steps to it to get it to be able to sell.
Sure.
I do have some left. I bought some extraction equipment now, so my next step is to start making oils and learning how to do that process.
Wow, that's actually really great. Like, this is a personal opinion of mine, and I'm going to say it just because this is our podcast and I can say it. Is I do feel like it should be legalized.
Yeah.
I think that we're in a place where we can see now how, even just medicinally, how important or how effective CBD or, I guess I don't know.
Weed.
Yeah. I was thinking marijuana. So I guess what prompted you to want to start this in the first place?
Well, so I've dealt with chronic illness since I was about 24, 25. There's been numerous things. They said, it's possibly MS. I had Lyme disease for a long time, so they said people call it chronic Lyme disease, arthritis, all kinds of things. It's just like I've had a lot of aches and pains, illnesses over the years. I used to have seizures. I'd fall down on the floor and black out. I had one time I woke up and I couldn't use half my body. And I started using marijuana first illegally, back then because like I couldn't eat. I would throw up. And so it brought me back to where I could start functioning. And I had a business I had to let go because like I had been so sick for a long time, and they, it's been doctor to doctor. All they were like, oh, here's some pills, here's some pain pills. And so I found relief that way. And then as CBD and hemp oil started coming around, you start hearing about that. I started using that. And that was like a real game changer, which I thought like, well, if it's not getting you high, it's not going to help. But it really did. It helped me focus. It helped with the aches and the pains and just overall energy. So I was like, this has been a miracle for me. So I figured like I would love to
you want to share the wealth.
Share it with everyone else. I used to be on a prazolam, like I'd take for anxiety attacks and stuff like that. And I haven't had to take one in over 2 years. Because of the CBD oil,
Yeah.
And that's pretty huge because, and I'm not going to sit here and pretend I know statistics, but anxiety and mental health is a huge prevalent issue here at least in our country.
Oh, yeah.
So, instead of being on medication, and I'm not saying this for everyone, obviously, but instead of being on medication that just temporarily relieves or only treats a symptom, what are your thoughts on how this can be compared to those kind of medications?
Well, I know just from personal experience, like I was a depressed kid, it was later on in life I was finally diagnosed with Asperger's, which is like a form of, it's like high spectrum or high functioning Asperger's. And from the time I was 15, I had a suicide attempt. And so they had me on all these medications, and all they did was like, they'd numb me to a point, but then there would be like this boiling point I would hit, and I would just go berserk. I would break stuff and just lose it. And that was my experience on antidepressants and anxiety pills and stuff like that. And then once I got sick, it was like pain pills and stuff. And I was like, I don't want to be taking all of this. And so compared to that, it's like, this has been a godsend. It's
and it sounds like such an individualized thing too, is, for maybe a lot of people, talk therapy or counseling or something more holistic might be the right way. And then for other individuals, obviously they've done their trial and error, and regular prescription medication isn't what's suitable for them. So what it sounds like you're providing is an alternative because it's something that works so well with you.
Yeah. And that's, that's what I tell people. It's like, I don't claim that it cures or anything or treats any diseases, but, I just provide it. I have a farm where people bought in with a membership at the beginning of the year. So instead of going and paying $75 for a bottle in the store, they can get it for $50 from me because they're a member. And so I'm providing all these people. And I've had people who, they've quit taking their anxiety pills that they used to have to take all the time, which are harmful for you. People who cut down on their medications they've had. My dad has Crohn's disease, and his medicine's $350 a month after what the insurance pays. And so he's been taking it. He's taken like a quarter of a pill of what he used to take. And, not to get too graphic, but it's like he said he had the first solid BM in years.
Yeah.
But that's like, it speaks a lot to, I mentioned mental health, like anxieties and depression and things like that. But it speaks a lot to medical and things you can't always prevent. If you were either predisposed to certain, like a medical history. Or if you were diagnosed with cancer, that I've heard anyway in my personal experience, I think we all probably have somebody that has been diagnosed with cancer. We know of somebody struggle with cancer.
And I had my mom had terminal breast cancer like 10 years ago. It passed away, and like I watched her because I tried. I was like, Mom, I'll bring you some over. I'll make you some cookies, whatever I got to do. I wanted to take away that pain. And I watched her with the pain pills and how that killed her before the cancer killed her. I mean, it took my mom away. She was just a pill zombie. I hate to bring that up. I mean, she was a wonderful person, but in the end, it took her away from us. And I had my wife's uncle who also had cancer. He smoked marijuana every day. He didn't take any of the pills. He'd get up and he'd go swimming, and until the day he died. It was just it was totally different.
It's my mother also had breast cancer when I was back in high school. It wasn't as, she's still around and she's still with us, thank goodness. But I didn't even know about it back in high school. And if I would have, and if she would have, even CBD or hemp to help her eat and stuff, because she was different, you know, going through that whole situation. I didn't get to, see her as much because she was going through radiation and things and working full time on top of it. So having those kinds of things and those more simple remedies that are natural, I think, are really beneficial, especially with keeping your family together and letting them do things like eat or go out and to the park with you or go to a movie, because it helps them with energy, which would have been nice, back in the day. But
and it is, people call it a plant medicine. I think it kind of is, but it really is a food. And it's been a staple of our food for 10,000 years until the last 100 years. It's been part of our food. We've fed it to our animals and stuff. And, there's the conspiracy theorists say that, well, that's why we have all this cancer and autism and stuff, is because we took those cannabinoids out of our food system, because we drink it in the milk, and, we'd have the seed and stuff like that and make the lotions. And, people would smoke it. And,
And I don't know a lot about the history either. So, I can see with anyone listening to this, having a lot of opposing views, because this is somewhat controversial, especially weirdly in today's world. It's still very controversial. Even with a lot of the states legalizing the use of marijuana. What is it that is so controversial about that, and why do you think it's not legalized? Or
I think it's really
I've heard lots of things, it's lobbying and it's other things, but I don't know enough about that.
There's probably many reasons.
There's many reasons, And I think too, it is a mild hallucinogen too, and what hallucinogens do is they open up a part in your mind that you don't usually see or use, and for some people, people who are predisposed to schizophrenia or something, not a good idea to take it, because it can open up that door and then they can't get it closed. But for average people, I've seen people, it changes who they are. It can change who they are in a better way. I think sometimes makes them more caring, more
an enhancement.
Yep. And I think that's the fear, is the hippies of the 60s. That was kind of that generation of that, let's get together, love each other, and, and no more war, no more this. And I think that was part of what scared them, why in the 70s they started that's when it became a Schedule I drug, and they really went after it.
I had read back in college, this could not be accurate, but also that it might have been illegal because it was a cheaper way to make paper, and it was a cheaper way to make wood and stuff. And those lumber companies were really in control in the 1900s. And this is just, historical me coming out. And that was kind of one of the initial reasons as to why it was illegal, because it was so much cheaper and it was threatening the lumber industry at the time. So that is what I had read a couple years ago.
That's a lot. And, it even comes from, racist background where when they passed the law, the Marijuana Act, marijuana was, they were calling it Mexican tobacco. So they didn't know that they were outlawing the cannabis plant, hemp. And it was Henry Ford made his first car out. There's a video of him smashing this car, like the Elon Musk thing with the the big hammer. And he made it out of hemp plastic. It went on hemp fuel, and there were so many uses. And I think big companies were like, we got to stop this. And they used fear. They used fear of Mexicans, and they used fear of this drug that's going to take over and make people crazy, And that there was a lot of things that went into play to make it illegal.
Yeah. So I am going to kind of segue a little bit into your music as well, just kind of keeping in mind for time. And you were talking about earlier some of the music projects that you're a part of. Do you want to elaborate on that, on any of your new and up and coming things?
I'm actually really interested. I love grunge music.
Oh,
so
cool.
that was the second band you had mentioned.
Yeah. The Broken Eights. They're friends of mine from years ago. Mike, who we call him Riff, he's the lead guitar player, and if you heard him play, you'd know why we call him Riff. But he's been a friend since I was a kid. We went to high school together. He introduced me to my wife, who's still my wife nowadays. And nowadays
she's still around.
She's still around somewhere. But so I knew him, and I met Derek when I went to the tech school, who's our drummer, and then Lance in my early 20s, and we played in different projects together. But one day I just got a a message from Riff out of the blue. He's like, what would it take for you to plug in an electric guitar again? Because we used to play like heavy grunge stuff in high school. And I just laughingly was like, let's do a Nirvana set at the Decadent Cabaret. Because I was thinking, oh, that'll shut it down. And 10 minutes later, he's like, all right, dude, we're booked for like March 3rd. And I've got a drummer and a bass player lined up. I'm like, oh, crap. I guess we're doing this. So we did the Nirvana set as Floyd and the Barbers, we called ourselves. And that, it just grew. It was like, this is fun. We started writing some songs. We recorded our first album out at Evan Middleworth's place, Pine Hollow. And then just this last year, we recorded our second album. And it's just kind of like guys getting together on a Wednesday, having a couple beers, playing some rock music, and playing shows. We're not too serious about it because that would just take the fun out of it. Mm-hmm. But it
sounds great.
It's so much fun, And we're all dads and stuff like that. And not Mike, he's a cat dad, but
they are just as important.
They're just as important.
Okay.
Yes.
Mason, you being a cat dad, you're just as important.
Yes. Yeah. So it's just kind of like to get together, hang out with the buds, and act like children.
Wonderful
really
outlet.
Is. Yeah.
Music.
Yep. And immaturity, and we're very immature together. So it takes us right back.
So do you guys write a lot of songs and stuff together then too, or?
Yeah, like the first album, I wrote a majority of this stuff.
Okay.
And just kind of brought it to practice. And then the second album, Riff would come to practice, be like, oh, I got this little guitar riff or something. And so we started working on. He's become more involved in writing riffs, and we sit down as a band and we discuss, well, where could we go with this, and so this second album I'm really proud of because it's a collective.
And what's
thing.
the name of the second album?
Bitter Pill.
Bitter Pill.
Yeah, it's not on. We don't have it on Spotify or anything yet. It is on Bandcamp, but we're gonna get out on iTunes and stuff this year.
We'll add the link to this too.
Cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
Do you have any other up-and-coming music projects that you're working on right now?
Well, I did a little bit. So, Merryweathers is the other band that I played with over the years. Me and my friend Stacy Hansen kind of started it. He was down for a recording project, and we kind of abandoned that day and started this band. And we played around for a long time. And then because I'm a full-time musician, so like the solo thing is my money maker. So the rest of the band has. Three of them, they kind of were playing as a trio a lot because there's more and more interest in it. And now they just finished up an album. I'm on the album. I did some harmonies. I wrote one of the songs with them, and I sing on one of the songs with them. And also Andy Hughes, I don't know if you've ever heard of him. He's from down La Crosse, excellent musician. And so they got a new album they just released, so they're going to have out on iTunes and stuff. And like I've got I was there for recording, and I'm a little bit of a part of it.
Hey,
but
you're still a part of that process.
Yeah. But I'm really proud of them. Those guys, I mean, they're like some of the best people I know. I mean, their families they're so involved with their families, and they're so caring for each other. And those are the people I like to surround myself. No drama,
course.
It's just like you get together. You can go a year without seeing them, and you get together.
You're genuine in your passion and your music, and it's not just for any other reason.
Yeah. Yep.
So.
Yep. Oh. Not about the ego or anything. It's just like fun.
That's weird because everything that we do is about our ego.
Yeah.
Right.
A little bit. Yeah.
That's where the podcast comes in for me.
So tell us about your podcast.
Yeah.
So what made you want to start this? You talked a little bit about it earlier, but.
Yep. So years ago, I started. This was when my mom was going through cancer. I started a podcast called what did I call it? Oh, it was Underdog Radio or something. Then we did a streaming radio station I did from my house, and it was like a 20-minute podcast that was just a music podcast. I'd just play music and talk about it, and had it out on a bunch of like micro stations throughout the United States. And then as my mom got sick, she was living in Oshkosh, and I would go over every week, for a couple days and help take care of her. So it was just like trying to keep my music schedule, my kids' schedule, and that schedule was hard, so it kind of went by the wayside. Then I helped build a community radio station for Osseo. We did the Pulse Radio for a while, and it just. Like I said, music got busy, life got busy, and that all fell by the wayside. But this year is like after the hemp
farming. But now you're back.
Yeah, so now I'm back.
In the podcast world.
Yeah. So this year, with having some downtime after hemp farming, I was just thinking like, man, I haven't seen any of my friends all year long because I've been so busy. So I just decided like, well, this is a good way to start this podcast. We're like, guys, come down. Let's have a couple drinks or something and, do this podcast. So we just call it Coffee
on
with
air.
Brian. Yeah, exactly.
And what's the name of your podcast?
Coffee with Brian.
Coffee with Brian.
And we have yet to drink any coffee.
I love your intro music too. Obviously, you wrote that.
Yeah.
How long did it take for you to write that?
5 seconds.
Oh my gosh.
It was.
You can do that in 5 seconds.
Yep. Yeah, it was. So for a while, I was doing a live stream. I called it Coffee with Brian, like last winter, because it was like so depressing last winter. And then I just look at Facebook and everyone's just like, heck with the snow. I'm so sick of winter. And so I was like, I just thought it'd be fun. So I would just do a live stream on my music page, and I called it Coffee with Brian. And I'd always open up with that stupid song.
I love that song. It's super catchy. Like I can sing it right now.
Too, yeah.
Coffee, coffee with Brian. Please don't add that in. That was terrible.
That was beautiful.
I'm not a singer for a reason.
You're hired.
Serenaded right now.
I'll take it.
What do you have planned for the podcast? Do you like plan do you have multiple episodes that you have planned ahead? Or?
It's kind of just a fly by the seat of my pants thing, because last time I did it was like every Wednesday I had to have it done. I'm like, I don't want to be married to this thing.
Yep.
So it's just like whenever people can come down, like if I can do 3 in a week, I'll do 3 in a week. It'll just be like whatever people's availability is. I'll get them done, get it up there. I want to try to do at least one a week.
1 a week.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, Addie and I are available.
Cool.
I'm kidding. We're not. We don't have anything to offer. No musical talents, as you could tell from me singing just 10 seconds ago.
Yeah, I paint for fun.
Oh, there we go.
That's pretty much it.
Can't really paint on a podcast, Addie.
Well, we could. I could describe the paintings.
Yes, we will access that part of your mind.
Yep.
Describe my, random colors I'm throwing on a canvas.
Painting for the deaf, or the deaf, the blind. Oh,
so insensitive.
I know. I'm sorry.
So, but you brought your guitar here.
Yes,
I see.
I
Did you have a song that you were prepared? Is it going to be a solo or something you wrote today?
Yeah, I'll do something I wrote.
Want to tell us a little bit about it?
What should I play? I'm thinking. I'll do. So I did the last song I wrote, like for my acoustic thing, I wrote about this time last year, and it's like a depressing country song, but I really like it because it sounds so country that I'm like, someone needs to buy this song for me. And it's called "Baby I'm Tired." It was just I'd got done off tour, and it'd been a long year. It'd been really trying. My last group was a duo, a guy and a girl, and once I got back off tour, it's like everyone was so excited for us to go, and then you get back and you start hearing the rumors, the gossip, and it was just like that was so heartbreaking that people were like, "Oh, what are they doing?" When it was like we were just friends, it was a business situation, and that really hurt me. So the song was kind of like, I'm just tired of all of this. Mm-hmm. I'm tired of kind of being in the spotlight, and so it was just like it was kind of like, well, the heck with all those haters out there, you know. And it was just like, I'm tired. I'm going away for a while. And that's when I started the hemp business, just to kind of get out there and step away from
all the negativity
for a while.
Exactly.
And just run around barefoot in the grass.
Growing some hemp.
That's what life's about, though, because I think everyone gets so bogged down on expectations and being a certain kind of way. But if you have a passion, pursue it.
Yeah. Lost myself a year ago, climbed up that hill to tie myself some rope, but somehow I found some light just to watch it burn and fade into the night. And I'm so tired of thinking, baby, I'm too tired. I blame myself for all I've done years ago. Just like every one of us, we made our beds, but no one lies in air can't believe you think I fucked it up again. And I'm so tired of thinking, baby, I'm so tired of feeling like I'm doing something wrong. I'm so tired of fighting, I'm barely holding on. I'm so tired of wasting words on these damn songs. I'm so tired, I'm so tired, I'm too tired, I'm too tired. I nearly lost myself a year ago. Climbed up that hill to tie myself some rope.